what you've seen this evening is informatics from A to Z. You know what that would be. Android to zombies. That's what we do here. So, in response to that sampler, what I would like to do is pull all of these things together, you see, and show you some of the underlying structure here. The ideas, the goals, what gave rise to this college is a way to wrap up this evening. This is a slide that we use a lot when we talk about economic development with the business community. It was one of the deep ideas that gave rise to this college. Look at this as a triangle. The left side of the triangle is the conventional side of the triangle. Colleges generate talent, they fill high-value jobs. The more challenging side of the triangle is more oblique, more indirect. Colleges stimulate a culture of innovation. A culture of innovation ultimately creates high-value jobs, and you have this resonance between them. This is a very deep idea, and it was one of the founding ideas of the College of Informatics. Informatics is not just about economic development, but it is about economic development. It is an important part of the college. It was something at the very roots of this college. And the college, as you've heard, was created in 2005 with a lot of high energy. We're fortunate enough to have Provost Gail Wells here, who was really the early architect of the College of Informatics. So in this great evening, we have to acknowledge our founder. So, Dr. Wells. So, 8 years later, here we are. Now, I want to tell you, look at these subjects. These are the majors. You can come here, get a bachelor's degree, get a master's degree in all these fields. What you should look at here is these are fields. These are deep, rich subjects that are intellectually deep, that engage with the world. They are not skill sets. They are not sets of training courses. This is a deep institution of higher learning. You've also heard tonight everything from Hippocrates to hackers. That's what we do here. I want to call your attention to something new there. Launching this fall is NKU's data science program, a very ambitious program in big data, data mining, business analytics, visualization, simulation. It is really going to use the resources of this building like crazy. And many of the people in this room, particularly board members, have helped us put together just a dynamite curriculum in this hot new area. So you'll be hearing a lot about this over the next few years. President Mearns mentioned the numbers. I want to show the red bars behind the numbers because this is so impressive since we were created in 2005. Look at that. That's the supply side. To tell you, last Friday, I was at the CIO Roundtable Invitational on University Partnerships, and I heard a very interesting statistic. They had done some research. They were interested in particular in IT graduates. I learned that at present in the tri-state area, and they were counting mainly Miami, UC, and NKU, there are 1,400 students currently majoring as undergraduates in IT-related fields. 1,400 of those in the tri-state. You know how many of them are in NKU? 800. So pause to figure out that fraction. What that says, if you're a business who wants to hire IT-related graduates, go south of the river. Okay, that's the center of the gravity here. So, there can be a lot of sort of hubris and pretension associated with all these great numbers, but we have to realize that we are superlative in many ways, but we can't do everything. It's very important to focus on a few things that we want to put in the foreground. There are many flavors of informatics. We don't do them all. We picked a few strategic fields. Mobility, mobile app development, social informatics, cuts across all three departments in this college. Business, communication, computer science. Cybersecurity you heard about. We're in the process, in fact, our curriculum in security has already been certified as meeting the standards set by the National Security Agency and Homeland Security for being up to date in cyber defense. And we're putting through the final phase of that application now. Health information technology, you've heard about that tonight. That intersects everything. Computing, health communication is a big area in our communication department. And it's run out of the business informatics with, you've heard about the master's program, the highest enrolled master's program here. And all this works, of course, because informatics is not an island. My colleague, Business Dean Rick Colby is out there. We couldn't function without Rick in a lot of these partnerships. Informatics connects broadly, and you've heard a lot of that tonight. I have to say some words about this extraordinary building with a funny word like informatics, naming your college. You really need to have a physical symbol, a physical statement of what informatics is, and that is what this building tries to accomplish. There are some classes still going on until about 9 o'clock, but later you can grab some wine and kind of explore the building. It's an interesting learning space. The Digitorium itself here, we've hosted everything from opera to singer-songwriter music, WNKU, entrepreneurship events, hackathons. We've used this space in very innovative ways and will continue to. It's in a time when people are focused on virtual spaces, it's important not to forget the sense of place you get with an extraordinary physical structure that brings students together. Now, one of the things that surely you've noticed through the night is how we have connected students and faculty, but particularly students, to the surrounding business community. This is through our Center for Applied Informatics. If you see the logos here, for every logo up there, and you see big companies, small companies, startups, you see governments, you see education, charities, hospitals. For each one of these logos, there's a student, or 2 students, or 5 students, or 10 students doing real work. Experiential learning is very, very important. I don't want to say it's at the core of what we do, because there is a very interesting complementarity between academic learning and experiential learning. They are meant to lock together, and that's what we try and do here. And so much of what's made the College of Informatics shine over the past few years is actually through the Center for Applied Informatics. So I do have to acknowledge the amazing imagination and energy and creative skills of its executive director, Tim Ferguson. So these are logos, but let me end with the most ambitious slide perhaps tonight, the world. As a university, we're happy to send people all over the planet, as long as they come back. And we have physically, we send our students, are sending our students to London, Japan, Romania, England. But virtually, they've done projects that have impacted the world. And in particular, what we are going to end this evening's program on tonight is that yellow circle pointing in California. Now, this was an early app that we developed that literally put us on the map. And I was going to introduce it as the app that started it all, with the idea that we end with a presentation on sort of a little bit of our roots. How did we get into mobile app development 3-4 years ago? But interestingly enough, I learned today that it's not just ancient history. 2009 is ancient history in informatics. In yesterday's edition of the Los Angeles Daily Times, this app was written up. The app you will hear about is going to be deployed in Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles. Just a few months, or about a year after it was deployed in Erlanger, Kentucky. So this is the app that started it all. So I'd like you to hear about this to close.